Hello, welcome to Tokyo. I just saw the news yesterday, it was the day before yesterday, where Germany passes Japan as the third largest GDP, the third largest economy in the world. Japan falls to number 4. I was here in Japan in 2010 when Japan was number 2, and it fell to number 3 when China passed it. So it's more of a psychological thing than it is actual having some sort of meaning, but it also is an indicator of the weakness of Japan's position economically over the last, how many lost decades have there been? And there's reasons for this, and this definitely has an impact on tourism. There's not a lot of sectors which look super promising. A lot of it just has to do with the demographic issues. Japan's birth rate has been really bad for such a long time. Kids, as you see, people are just not having family. People aren't getting married. Having kids, the incentives to have children in Japan are increasing. So on a family level, and as someone who lives here as a resident of Japan for 26 years, I can tell you we really do feel the decline. It's not just, it is mostly psychological, but you start to feel it after a while. A lot of people are talking about it as well. This fall is mostly a result of the weakness of the Japanese yen. Let's be honest here. Germany's economy isn't exactly booming either, but the Japanese yen is just so darn weak. Right now it currently sits at 150.12 to the dollar. That's crazy as someone who's been here for 26 years, and maybe not so crazy if you were here in the 1990s and 1970s when it was like 200 and something to the dollar. We're talking modern times here, even though, you know, I was alive at that time. What does that make me a classic? But the downturn of the economy, this is nothing, it's just a psychological marker, because we all knew that Japan's economy wasn't that great. But the one sector that's really good is tourism. In fact, that's the one sector, I look around here right now, and you know, I'm in front of the Marunouchi side of Tokyo Station. I see a ton of foreign tourists, and I wouldn't be surprised if you are here, come and say hi, you know. But that's the one sector that's really booming, and I'm starting to see a lot of Japanese industries trying to take advantage of that. There's a hydrogen fuel cell bus. I love these. You see that going right there. So Japan is a modern technological wonder of, well, in particular Tokyo, of a country. It's kind of curious to see it fall so far, but a lot of the issues are demographic. It's not that the economy, and a lot of it might be cultural, where the countries just cannot change as quickly as China and the United States for so many things. And Japan has been battling that. They have a digital minister. Japan has Kono Taro, or is it Taro Kono? I don't know. He likes to do things the Japanese way, where the last name is first, but the first name is last. Well, in the West, you'd want the last name last, but it's really confusing. Okay, so Taro Kono Taro Kono Taro. He's the digital minister, and likely one of the next prime ministers of Japan coming up, and he's had his hands full trying to digitalize a country where many people still rely on fax machines, and a lot of people read newspapers on the subway. And there's nothing wrong with that. I kind of miss getting that ink on my hands from the newspaper and having it around to start fires and stuff like that for campfire. I mean, just people don't have it anymore. But the point is, in order for Japan to be a competitive society, we really need to change quicker. We need, oh, how you doing? I was like, I didn't want to get in your picture. Hi.
I've been following you for years.
Oh, hey, where are you guys from?
The Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, I'm sorry about the Super Bowl.
Hey, it happens, right?
We have some 49ers or some Chiefs fans in here too, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
How's your trip going?
Just got in last night, hanging out in Nihonbashi, and
oh yeah.
we just went to, what did we go to? The Team Labs.
Oh yeah, yeah. How was it?
It was okay. We had fun.
Yeah.
My son Ryan.
How you doing, Ryan?
Yeah. Yeah, we were over the other side, Daimaru, and I said, "Hey, he's on."
I am on.
Caught you.
Yeah. So this is really cool because you have the really nice exchange rate right now.
150, yeah.
Oh man.
I've been buying it anytime it gets up to 148, 150.
Yeah, 150 right now. I have a couple of You Found Me cards for you. Is that? Okay, I'm glad I have them today. Here you go. Boom, there you go. And I have one for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, these things have been traveling with me all across the country.
All right.
So
Nice to meet you. I really appreciate everything you've done. Yeah.
very, very well. I'm glad that you guys ran over here to stop by. You're a little out of breath.
I'm Norman Yoshida. It's my son Ryan Yoshida.
All right. Oh,
Actually,
okay.
Ryan, we adopted Ryan for Japan almost 18 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Oh, so how old are you now?
17, about to be 18 in July.
Oh, so you're more American than Japanese.
Yeah.
I might be more Japanese than American. This is kind of
you
fun.
probably are.
In my manners and stuff.
I'll let you go.
Well, thank you. Thanks
so
for
much.
coming to say hi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
All right, bye-bye. That's really nice. And thanks for stopping by, guys. If you're watching this in the playback, I really appreciate it. And yeah, sorry about the 49ers. I was kind of cheering for the 49ers because they've got a couple of really good Ohio State Buckeyes on that team, and everybody knows I went to Ohio State, so maybe next year. Brandani is in the house. Aloha, not at work, and I'm glad you could catch the stream. Thank you, Brandani. Yeah, so getting back to it, I mean, there's a lot of tourists that are taking advantage of the weak Japanese economy, which I think you should. Japan, I gotta be honest with you, for the first 19 years of me living in Japan, nobody came to visit me. It stunk. It was, everybody wanted to go to Europe or, you know, to the Caribbean. I'm from the East Coast in America. None of my friends had any interest whatsoever in Japan. You know, when I came here, and I didn't actually fall in love with this country when I first came here either. Everybody has sort of a tough time. You have the 6-month blues, and living in Japan can be, it's totally different than visiting here. I made an episode on that with the digital nomad visa information that came out last week. But the point is, everybody wants to come and stay. And I mean, it's really cool, but the floor of our apartment will be used as a hotel for friends for the next, like, you know, several years. So we need to move to a bigger place, first of all. But I'm really happy that Japan is finally, people are noticing how amazing it is, and that has to do with the weakened economy. It has to do with the fact that people see the potential. Things are changing into English. It's becoming an easier place for foreign visitors to come. This is all a result of people wanting to get US dollars, not just make yen, which is sort of worthless if you try to travel abroad. Go to Hawaii now, Brandania, right? When the yen is 150 to the dollar, Japanese aren't going to Hawaii because the economy is so bad. Maybe I hope that changes really quick. Complete absence of Japanese tourists, and that was shocking to me. And I was lucky I had Brandania driving me around and everything and showing me all the local spots, so that certainly helped a lot. Mahalo. And Michael Sassano, I got to shout out Michael as well. Yeah, Hotel Daub is a real thing, which is good. It makes us, it's really great to see all of you. In particular, when I do the live streamings and you come to say hi, I like that. It's really nice, and gives me a chance to get out of the house too. I just sent the postcards. Let me get back to it. I want to read some of it, but I just sent out the postcards here. It's backwards, but this month is the Naked Man Festival. I participated that in 2013. 2019, 2020, and I'm going to be doing it in a couple of weeks from now, I believe, unless something happens. I'm going to film my experience there as well. It should be really good. I've done so many of them. And that's this month's postcard. If you want one, just sign up on Patreon. I really appreciate it. Let's go over the news here, which is why a lot of you are here. You can see that the 10 top economies here. This is just updated 3 days ago. I wonder why, because of the news that broke. But yeah, the U.S. is a massive economy by far, and it's going to be hard for China to catch up. If it is a battle between GDP, I don't know. It's like a race to go the wrong direction right now. China's economy is not really growing as fast as it did, but both economies are still growing, not at the pace. There's so many issues. You can see the U.S. has when I was there, I could tell. I was in China a few years ago, 2019, right before the pandemic. And I was in the USA, you know, I go back all the time. And I have to tell you, the infrastructure in China is so much far ahead. This is the one thing that should scare Americans. The US infrastructure is so not good right now. It really needs to be overhauled ASAP, because when you look at China and you drive through the cities there, everything is brand spanking new. And you can, it's just so efficient. And that's gonna be something that's, I'm kind of worried a little bit as an American. You know, we won't always want to have the biggest economy here. Germany's economy, I think that's more symbolic right there. You saw Japan moving to fourth. I think Japan will overtake Germany again when the yen gets stronger. I think that the yen's going to get stronger again. Right now, they're grappling with a bunch of other issues here. Germany's a beautiful country. We love to go there for Christmas. There's so much spirit there. All the viewers from Germany that I do talk to are so friendly. In fact, everybody is, so it's not one particular country. But the country right underneath India is the one that we all should be looking at, because in 2025 or 2026, we're not quite sure when, India's economy is probably going to be passing Japan's. And you can see here, like, you ever see those info charts where the lines are running and running and running? You can see in the 1980s, Japan's economy, woo, running to the top. And then now you can just see it like shrinking as the lost decades and the economy starts to shrink here. But the one thing that Japan has going for it is how safe and wonderful it is. The tourism industry is not going to prop up the whole economy, but it can give it some rays of hope. And the diversity, I mean, I don't know. The diversity is a good and a bad thing here. There's something really nice about having people of the same culture that understand the rules and know the way it works. When you have a bunch of more diversity in here, you start to see more bumps. I had the landlord come into my apartment yesterday to work on some of the pipes in there. He wasn't just the landlord, he was the designer of the building, and we talked for about 20 minutes in Japanese. He was so happy that I could speak in his language. It wasn't great Japanese, I don't speak very good Japanese. But he was so happy that I can converse in Japanese, and he felt really, really, I don't know, proud that people wanted to learn the language. I've been living for 26 years, of course I'm gonna speak a little bit of the language. But I was really happy that he was happy, and we talked a lot about that. But he also has another foreigner who moved in who can't speak any Japanese whatsoever, and he says that it just makes it really hard because that other person is not putting out the trash right. He knows it's not me, but it's not putting out the trash right, and is you know, making some mistakes, and that's okay. We have to be tolerant of that, but it also it makes it hard for the society to go smoothly. And those are some of the things that we love about Japan: how safe it is, how it works predictably, and when you add diversity into it, it sort of goes the other way. I mean, let's face it, Japan is Japan, right? But it's always been a country. But it's a country. My point is this: it's going to be a country that is going to have to rely on that diversity. It could be people getting interested in Japan from tourism, and they come here and they want to live here. They want to contribute to it. I'll be honest with you. The money here, the wages here are not good. Japan was also ranked as the 26th, or it's the fourth biggest economy, but it's number 26 in salaries for the IT sector. I want you. This is an important, and this is in the news just recently too. I don't have a screenshot of it, but if you're number 26 in IT sector, which is a sector where you're going to want to grow your economy for the future, you're not bringing in really good talent. But you can draw from talent, because even the talented pools from countries that are not doing as well, like India, like Pakistan, you know, South Asia. A lot of South Asians are coming here. Why would they come to Japan when you can go to America and make like 10 times more money as an IT professional? So these are issues that Japan is really, really going to have to try to solve. Right now, the inflation has been pretty crazy, 40-year highs right now, but workers here in Japan are not making, they're making the same kind of money that they made like in the 1990s. At least it feels like that. Wage increases are not there, mainly because of the weakness of the yen, which is an opportunity. Japanese companies are actually making really good money, those that are international, because they bring it back to Japan, and it's, you know, huge. Uniqlo, for example, because of its international businesses, can afford to pay really a lot of money to their workers, and they're the ones giving wage hikes. But if we don't see the wage hikes here, we're not going to attract really good talent. We're not going to attract a diverse amount of talent, which makes us competitive in the world, and thus Japan's economy will continue to kind of slide more and more down. I think Kono Taro Kono kind of gets this, and that's why I'm looking forward to when Kishida has exhausted all of his political capital. We'll have another prime minister, maybe not Taro Kono, maybe not ever, I don't know. But he's younger, he's a Georgetown graduate, he speaks fluent English, he understands the world a little bit better, he understands the digital sector, he understands how to be more competitive, but he's a younger guy, so he can't go above and put his impressions over those that are above him, because that's just Japanese culture, which is sort of maybe part of the problem. There's advantages and disadvantages. This is my experience of 26 years living here, in my opinion only, and I would love to have you guys argue with me, or even disagree with me, or add to it in the comments below. Other than that, I really don't have too much more to say. Let's get into this article. Here, there's no sound to it. This is the article from Kyoto News, which I love, writes the news in English. A steep road to reverse low growth. It's going to be really hard to get around of it. Japan's economy is facing more headwinds. Let's see if I can push pause here. Than previously thought, after a drop to the world's fourth largest economy, trailing the United States, China, and now Germany, unexpectedly slipping into recession last year. I don't feel the recession so much, mainly because I'm in that tourism sector. I'm trying to do things like we did bus tours last year. I'm trying to do things, you know, and I think other YouTubers are as well, to help other Japanese get into this sector, to try to promote the countryside. I really, like, deep down in my core, I think that's one thing I can do, not only to help my own family, but also to help a lot of Japanese families and people to find a growing sector. But we do feel the recession because the inflation is at a 40-year high, and wages are like stagnant. With a persistently weak yen blamed for making the size of the economy look smaller in the US dollars, the ranking reversal may prove a blip in the end. Still, the latest developments underscores the fragility of the economy, that this year may see the first interest rate hikes since 2007, which would be good. I think if you have a savings account in Japan, you make like 0.01% interest, which you think, like, what's the point? But inflation was minus, so you would actually lose money if you kept it in the bank. Technically, you'd make money if you had it in a 0.01 interest yielding account, which is better than nothing, right? Which is almost nothing, but you weren't losing any money. Now, if inflation is so high, you're losing money if you save your money, which is what the Bank of Japan probably wants. It's better that you spend your money now, because it's not a good time to save your money, because if you save your money, you're losing money. It's in economics. Germany's nominal gross GDP stood at 4.46 trillion, and Japan's is 4.21 trillion. Why didn't they pick this up before? Because the numbers were just released a couple of days ago. Nominal GDP is measured by the current prices. And I think if you take that GDP and you take the per capita income, Japan is probably not really high up there. People don't make the same kind of money as they do in the United States, which is a reason why you probably don't want to work in Japan. An English teacher still starts at about 228 man, which is roughly, I don't know, it's like 2,000. You're gonna get like $2,000 to $2,200 a month as an English teacher. When I came here in '98, that was significantly more powerful than it is today. So I'm not even sure you're gonna get good people to want to come here to be English teachers, but there's something to be said for not just doing it for the money, but for the experience, and living in Japan is certainly an experience. For the first quarter of 2023, Japan's GDP shrank by an annualized real 0.4%, contracting for the second straight quarter. All right, so basically, you know, there's a lot of challenges that Japan has to overcome this. Just recently, they announced that if you have a third child, they're going to be giving you an allowance. So there's an allowance if you have kids, because there's so few of them. Now they're adding, if you have a third kid, you make more money from the government, because the government will pay you, because without having kids here, there's not enough taxpayers to pay into the social services that are necessary, like health insurance and pensions. And without that, the country's just going to evaporate. You can't rely on tourism for that. They actually need people to live here. So for those of you that have always dreamed of living here, after all of the really bad wages and challenges that the culture has, and you probably don't want to after this, Japan really needs you. So I think the incentives, you might want to wait a little bit too, because I think the incentives are, I was saying this as a friend, I think the incentives to come to live in Japan, first of all, there's not really a lot there, because the old-time politicians don't want to see, oh, hello. Oh, no, not at all. Yeah, I am.
Oh my God, so nice to meet you, man.
Oh, nice to meet you. Where are you from?
Australia.
Okay. Welcome.
I was wondering if I could get a photo with you.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh my God, thank you so much, man.
You want to say hi to everybody?
On stream?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there you go.
Hello. Oh, that's so cool to meet you, man.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. Oh, thank you so much, man.
How long are you here for?
I've been here since the 1st of Feb, and I'm leaving in 2 days.
Wow, you got nice weather today.
Yeah, really nice weather. It's so
Yeah.
hot in Australia right now.
Oh gosh, so this is perfect.
Yeah, it's such nice weather. Well, yeah, thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
have a nice trip.
You too.
That was very nice. John's just gonna leave this run here. Leaving this running here. Hey moderators, what was I talking about? I completely forgot. Oh, the incentives. So I'm saying this as a friend. The incentives to want to come to Japan and live here are probably only going to get better and better because they're going to need more and more people. And I don't think that the old timers that are in office, it's so top heavy with people who don't want change at all. And we saw this in an episode I made about 2.5 years ago in Kochi Prefecture about the revitalization plans. The older generation does not want to change, even if it's detrimental to them, because they don't got too much time on the clock anyways. They're not really thinking about, it's a little bit selfishness, they're not really thinking about the future. But you know, why would they? So having a bunch of people, as I told you, when you come here and there's diversity and immigrants come in here, there is a lot of different cultures that don't understand the Japanese culture, so it's a very bumpy road. The culture here in Japan works so well the way it is when you add in people who don't want to change and assimilate. How do you assimilate? Japan's not a melting pot. It's harder. So you have to understand the pushback, not in the prism of me as an American. I've been here for a long time, so I can see it. But if you're an American, you can't see it. America works, and if you look at America from the outside and you're looking in, you can see that sometimes that diversity doesn't work so wonderfully either. Like I'm watching on the background when I'm editing, like Love is Blind. It's like this thing on Netflix. It's kind of I don't know, trashy show maybe, but it gives you an idea, a snapshot of people. And I'm sure that they're doing it to try to get discovered on social media and all. I don't know what it is, but I watch it on the background and you can see the way that the people hook up and the way that they're all connected by being American, but also kind of separated by their ethnicities and the different cultures within the ethnicities. And sometimes we forget what it means to be American, and we're united when we're at war and stuff like this. At least that's what I saw in 2001 when I came home. I was on the top of Kilimanjaro. I came down, and that's when I saw that the Twin Towers had been attacked. I was in Kenya, in Nairobi at the time, in a supermarket, and they were yelling in Swahili. I went back and I saw on CNN, America under attack, and I got a couple of days later, we got on a plane. I'd come via South Africa, flew there. We flew back to South Africa. We couldn't, because the flights were all grounded. It took us a couple of days to get back to Paris. And I got on a flight back home. I remember I was a few weeks removed, and I went to New York City. I don't know why, just wanted to go there to see friends. People had gone through a traumatic experience, and you could see the devastation. But what I saw above all, and it's almost hard not to get emotional, when you see the divisiveness of America, was just how together America was. People had flags on their cars. Didn't matter about race and ethnicity. Everybody was just together at that moment. And how it just seems like we forget that sometimes. But Japan doesn't, because everybody is pretty much the same. Maybe except for right here at this area. I'm looking around. The diversity is incredible. This is all very much in line with Japan's economy. Because without being able to get the best candidates, the smartest people to come here, I find it really hard for Japan to come out of this, you know? But there is a nationalism, and because everybody's the same. You walk around and there's also a boredom, and maybe some European countries might feel this too, I don't know. There's a really great thing with having a diverse population. It's not boring, it's never boring. But it can feel a little boring here. My first 15 years, there were very few tourists here. There weren't a lot of Western residents here. Most of the foreign residents in Japan were of Korean and Chinese descent, and they had been here like second or third generation and just not considered Japanese, which I think is crazy as an American, but that's the system that they have. If you're Korean and born in Japan, that doesn't give you Japanese citizenship. Even if you're like third generation, you'd have to get a Korean passport, which is crazy. But I think like this stuff has to change, or Japan has to be more inviting eventually when it's ready. Because who the heck am I to say when Japan is ready? But in order to attract the best talent, that's what makes America so great too, because they can give the higher wages and they can give the talented people and the smart people. All the best doctors from India aren't in India, they're in America. Just go to North Jersey, go to New York and Jersey, and that's where I grew up. Over there on the East Coast, you'll see the best doctors are all there, and a lot of them have come from India. So I mean, they went to medical school there, they stayed, they didn't go back to India. But maybe in the next 15 years, those Indian doctors are going to go back to India because the economy is getting so much better. Just maybe there's a lot of regulations and it's kind of hard. But in Japan, though, I think that the tourism industry is kind of this Kinlan. It's like a starter, a catalyst for possibly starting to attract people, because Japan's such a beautiful country. It's so wonderful. I'm not in a Japanese company per se. I mean, I'm doing my own thing here, so I don't have to deal with the stresses of being in a Japanese society as the same way as, if you do come here to work and live. But working in a Japanese company is not easy. It is really hard. You don't know, sometimes you're frustrated and it's not worth it. But then you finish your job, you make friends with your coworkers, you go out to delicious restaurants, you're safe, you walk around at midnight, nobody attacks you, you don't have to worry about, violence. And the benefits, you don't make as much money, but you have to weigh the benefits and the pros and cons. And there's so much to love as a tourist here. I'm not sure if it's the best place to live yet, but it's getting there. And maybe tourism can be that catalyst to get people to want to come here, the best people to want to come here. And you cannot fault. And we saw the digital nomad visit. I'm going to end on this. We saw the digital nomad visa, which is a 6-month visa. You have to show that you have make 10 million yen, or about $100,000 equivalent. And it's like, was it like $70,000 you have to show? And you can't fault Japan in having such a high barrier. They want the best of the best to come here. You don't want idiots coming here. No offense to, they can take all the offense they want to those YouTubers that were arrested or under great scrutiny. They were just idiots. Japan doesn't want those people here. They want the good people who are, making money, the smart people, the people who are going to contribute to Japanese society, the people who are going to make an impact. You can't blame any country for wanting that. But they're going to have to make that pitch sweeter in order to attract the best IT people from India. My mother's country's men's, and they're very smart there, or the best IT people from the United States, which are also really good IT people. And I'm talking about, Ellis and David, who are super smart in this sector that are helping me with a lot of stuff. They're American and they're geniuses. So I mean, I would never say you want to come and live in Japan. Maybe after you retire and you've made a boatload of money, you want to come here. Speaking of which, a lot of retirees are starting to want to come here to retire, which is interesting. I see Michael Sassano just made the stream. How you doing, brother? Aloha. But yeah, my mother's from India, born in Mumbai, and came to America in the 70s. So she's probably, except when I think even when she goes back to India, you can tell that she's still American more than Indian, because the Indians probably see that she's all really Americanized. I just wanted to leave you with that. And Japan has a lot of work to attract the best of the best to come here, to want to live here. And when you do come here and live here, there's a lot of responsibility and things that you have to think about. The assimilating into the culture, you have to learn the language. I mean, you should want to. Here's the thing. When you have to come to live in Japan, you should want to learn the language, all right? If you come in here and like, why don't the people, and I see a lot of English teachers say, why don't the people speak better English? I said, why the heck are where the heck do you think you are? Why don't you learn Japanese a little bit, You don't have to learn perfectly. I don't know Japanese perfectly. I'm a perfect example, And I think Dogen, who is a YouTuber down in Kyushu, probably speaks Japanese better than some Japanese speak it. And there are people like that. I have a friend who can speak so many languages so well. Alyssa, from Oriental Pearl, I think she's a bona fide genius. She can speak so many languages so well, including, Chinese. She learned Korean fast. She learned the language, so she's going to be really successful here, and I'm really happy about that. But, I learned enough to be able to get by conversationally and have fun, to find a beautiful woman who loves me very much and raise a family here and be really happy here. But it all has very much to do with speaking that language and learning the culture and trying very hard. I'm not perfect to assimilate. I'll sit on a table or I'll miss taking off my shoes in a spot. I'm still American and I never want to change that. But in order for Japan's economy to get out of this, they're going to have to attract people who want to come here, and tourism is a gateway to that. I think a lot of people who come here fall in love with the country, and it gives them an opportunity to learn about Japan and want to call this home. And if they're one of those people that are really smart in a sector like nursing or doctors or IT, they're going to make an impact. We want you. I'll be one of the ambassadors to get you to come here to Japan, to move here. Please come, contribute. But if you're going to be, like one of these, losers who comes in and is going to be a detriment to the society, then we don't want you. So that's like common sense, right? We don't want just anybody. We want the best people, and every country should be the same way. Right? Am I wrong, or am I right? I don't know. So wait, you have lived in you have lived in Japan for 25 years and not completely fluent? No, I'm not completely fluent. Maybe I've never gone to school. I've never really formally studied Japanese. But I can go onto a live TV news show where millions of people are watching and have a conversation, but everybody who listens to it, I sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger maybe, who's been in America for like 40 years, but he still has a German accent. What's up with that? I mean, nobody's going to be perfect, but I never made it, I probably should do that this year, but I never made it a mission to perfect the Japanese language. I don't know as many nouns and verbs, I don't speak perfectly, but I get around pretty good, and I can start a business, I can talk to people, I can do a lot of stuff, but I'm not perfect. I'm far from it, but that's a good thing, because you can always take a step forward every single year. It's like I tell Leo when he eats breakfast and lunch, little by little, he tries to put the entire lasagna in his mouth. I said, just take little bites and you'll get there, buddy. You hit the goal step by step. There's no reason to do it all in one big bite. That's me comparing food to learning a language. So there you go. That's why I have to work on that too. I do appreciate it, guys. Be brave if people will help you, even if you don't speak Japanese. Yeah, but as a tourist, you don't have to speak it. You're a guest. But if you come here to live and work, you're no longer a guest. You're a resident. This is your home. That's different. So, but in order for Japan's economy to turn around, to something better than my face, they definitely need to make this a more attractive place to attract more people, maybe be a little bit more tolerant, but do a better job of helping those people assimilate into the Japanese culture, which makes it the place that we all love to come and visit. You could ruin the country by turning it into a country that it's not. And I love Japan for the country that it is. And there's a compromise between what I think would be ideal in the eyes of an American tourist coming here and the actual reality of what the residents of Japanese want, the residents of Japan want, and I'm right in there in between, and I kind of understand both sides, which is probably why I have a little bit of success here on YouTube, just based on brute time, father time of 26 years. This is the 26th year of me living here. This is too darn long. I didn't have white hair back then. All right, everybody, have a good day, have a good night. Thanks, everyone. I'll bring it back in a night. I like talking about this stuff. It's pretty deep. I'll see you in another episode tomorrow as we go deeper into Japan. Oh, by tomorrow, I already know what I'm doing. Check it out over there. The ume blossoms are already out. These are the cherry blossoms for plum blossoms. They're the plum blossoms, but a lot of people mistake them for cherry blossoms. I'm going over to Mito tomorrow for a shoot I gotta do. I'm taking you there. So as the hydrogen bus passes by, I'll see you from the ume blossom gardens if there's any signal there, or I'll upload it later. And I'll try to bring you something from Ibaraki Prefecture tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Have a nice day. Mata ne. Ayo.